I'm Sharon Salzman. I work with the Kentucky Department of Education, and I will serve as your host for this session, which is Overcoming the Attendance Challenge, Chronic Absenteeism, and Beyond, with the presenter, Josh Gupton. Josh, I'll let you take it away. Josh, you're muted.
There we go. I hit the wrong button. I said, thanks for everybody for coming back. I know after lunch, it's hard to come back after eating, and some of us just eat while we're sitting in the office. And to be honest with you, I'm looking at the lineup along with all the round 7 groups. And when people see the word attendance, a lot of times you'll just hear, yeah, they really don't enjoy it. They don't like it. I would have went to managing difficult teachers or someplace else, but thank you for being here. One of the key things that I'm going to look at today has been a theme throughout the entire day, all the way from Todd Whitaker this morning, all the way through down. It's the emotionality about it all. And the one statement that I think that drove home what we're going to look at today is Todd said, don't solve problems. We want to change them forever. So if I can pull up my PowerPoint here. All right. So as Ms. Sharon already said, I am Josh Gupton. I went to Campbell's University for my undergraduate and master's, and then I'm working with WKU for my doctorate, and I'm focusing in chronically absent students. The first thing that we have to do is we have to get on the balcony. Now, being in administration, that is extremely difficult. We cannot walk down the hallway without having 3 or 4 different teachers pulling us in 15 different directions. And if you're like me, if they try to tell me something about a student or they try to explain something to me, I will forget it by the time I roll back around to my office. So for me, the first thing I had to do is get up top. I have to get away from all of the challenges that face me every day. Now, I do not lock my door. My teachers know I have an open door policy. They can come in anytime. Students do too. But there's sometimes that I have to stick a sticker on the door that said, I'm busy. Don't bother me. And whether it's I'm sifting through data or whether I'm having a conference with my staff, I need those distractions taken away. For adaptive leadership, we have to take and gain a clearer vision. We have to get to a spot to where others won't disturb us, but at the same time, we're gaining a big picture of what really needs to happen. Effective leaders resist being swept up in the action and can move back and forth from an active and reflective position. Active is we're digging in, we're taking the grind, we're getting down to the point of it. Reflective is we're stepping back and taking a look at what went wrong or what could have happened for the success to be there. Looking at the big problem. For our chronic absenteeism, we need to take a look and see if we can make small technical adjustments or if we can gain an expert like one of the people we've already heard today. Or is it something that we're going to have to completely change? So these 3 things together, taking a step back, getting away from the daily area, with places we are where we're not going to be pulled in 15 directions, making ourselves the effective leaders that can be active or reflective, and taking a look at the actual problem that's facing us. And to do that, we have to have the definitions though. If you've been an AP or you're a principal now, administration at all, you know the difference between truancy and chronic. Truancy counts only the unexcused absences. It emphasizes compliance with school rules and relies on legal and administrative solutions. We can put out 3-day letters all day long. We can put out 5-day letters. We can turn it over to the DPP. They can be turned into court. But let's face the reality of it. Come next year, what's the student going to do again? They're going to be right back into the same places they are. For most of us, a chronic student will always be a chronic student. A truant student is always going to be a truant student. Chronic absences, it counts all absences, excused, unexcused, and suspensions, emphasizes academic impact of missed days, and uses a community-based positive strategy. So we're going to hit all those here in just a second. Truancy is unexcused, chronic is all of them. The problem with our chronic students is these underlying factors. So each school will be different. Each school will have a different area. I know I said this is an elementary focus because that's where I'm at. But these underlying factors are going to be the basis for the majority of every grade from here all the way through college on attendance issues. The chronic health issues are number one for us. Our appointments, doctor's appointments. I don't know about the other school districts, but here it's very obvious that doctors don't really care about what time you can call them, and the offices will tell you straightforward that this is the only time we get them in. This is the only day that the doctor can be here. This is the only, in the morning is the only time he takes caseloads. And it's extremely difficult to get them to work with us. But with these students that have chronic issues that constantly have to be at the doctor's, it's not their fault. It's not their problem that they cannot get an appointment at any other time, less of the middle of the day. So if we can't alter that, the options come up, what can we do? For us, we know that it counts by the minute now. If those appointments only take an hour, we try to encourage them to come back in. We try to get them through the doors as quickly as they can get back here. I'll be honest, when I was in school, if I took off for the doctor's appointment, I pleaded and begged my mama to keep me out for the rest of the day. I didn't want to return, but we'll get to the other point here in just a second of making the difference of wanting them to get back into the school. Their treatment regimen. I've had students that come through the door and parents that will tell me that we can't treat the students here like they do at home. We can't give the medications. We can't do the procedures. We're not qualified for that. The nursing staff here at ours is getting better and better. We have the Healthy Kids Clinic that comes in now, and they can meet the needs of 80% of the students that come through the door. You still have that percentage that can't. And for the 3rd through 5th grade, I've had parents that tell me that we can't handle the changes of life that the students are handling. And you look at those parents and you say, give me an example. Tell me what you're talking about. So the point is to get them through the door, to bring them back in, to get them here. If it's a health issue, let's learn about the health issues. Let's take the time to look and see what they need and then meet their needs. Mental health factors, after COVID-19 hit, every school district, this soared. It skyrocketed. Whether social circumstances, high anxiety, the amount of students that are diagnosed with some type of anxiety issue now, even at the elementary grades, is incredible. It's staggering. We have a total of 4 counselors that see students here just within our one elementary school, and their caseloads are so tremendous, we're having to refer them to outside sources. With the 2 examples there, circumstances and anxiety with it, you have students that are feeling bullied that come in. At my level, you have to give them the definition of what bullying is, describe to them, explain to them. A one-off issue doesn't qualify for that. But at the same time, to them, that's their emergency. That's their issue that they're having right now. And if that one-off condition, that one issue that happened where they said they were bullied and we didn't do anything about it, the next day you'll see them stay home. They won't come to school because they don't feel comfortable. So they may feign sickness to remain or be sent home. Every one of us knows the ones that have tummy troubles every day that walks through the door. You can guarantee, you can see it on their faces when they step through that first door, that within an hour, they're going to be at the nurse's office. Disengagement. The amount of students that, of course, we know that don't follow school rules, but we use the school rule to say that I don't like it here. I don't want to be here. It'll drop her into low engagement. Your toxic school cultures. One of the things Mr. Whitaker said this morning was fix your climate. Fix your climate and it fixes the culture. It's not just the staff. It qualifies for the students also. One of the worst years that I had incurred here, we had a principal that come through that it destroyed our school culture. It dropped it rock bottom. And we were having attendance issues. We were having discipline issues. It just skyrocketed every area. And until we could get that turned back around and start thinking towards positivity, it wasn't going to happen to where we got the students back in the door. And you have your introverted students. the ones that just don't want to be bothered. You have and a lot of these students are extremely intelligent. They can do, they want to do, but yet at the same time, they're not a social life. They're not a butterfly that can be out there everywhere you want them to be. And the lack of support from stakeholders. We want to look at administration and say, it's your fault. This is where attendance issues lie. This is where the problems are at. But in reality, it goes well beyond the office doors. It qualifies for the teaching and the staff. It goes to the students themselves, to the parents out into the community. It's a complete holistic engagement of every person that's going to take to get the students back into the office. We can't just look at absences. Tardiness is going to be an indicator. If you have students that are going to show up within the first few weeks and they're late every day, you better guarantee that within a month, you're going to start seeing them miss whole days. I overslept one day. Well, I felt a little sick this day. I had a car issues. I just didn't want to get up. And then that transfers into minute by minute, you'll see that increase. So as we look, calculate them too. They're going to be a major indicator. The issues that we face within the school for this, you'll see mixed signals from the school about importance of being on time. I've walked into the classrooms that I've seen students come in late that I'll escort them up to the room and I'll see the teacher say, "You're late again. You're late again. Now we're behind. Now we're having issues on it." They have a negative reaction to the student coming in. Well, if I was a student that was already an hour late and I come into class and I see the rest of my classmates look at me while the teacher berates me, that's going to make me not want to come back. Students have a sense of not belonging to the classroom. Well, I've come into the classroom and these are not my friends. These are not my buddies. This is not the place that I'm supposed to be. We have rotating classrooms here in our 5th grade to where every 9 weeks we 1 or 2 hours late just to miss that first class, just not to be in that class because they feel that that's not where they're supposed to be. And then a lack of effort from all stakeholders to promote the attendance. That's what we just looked at a second ago. So where can we go from here? We've got to dive into the data. We've got to have a data analysis team, planning to identify the at-risk students. Attendance, we see those letters that are pegged. We see the 3 and 5 late letters. We see those red marks that come up. We see the indications that these are missing. But what about the ones that were homeschooled for the first 10 days of school? Or the ones that are home hospital for a month that are gone out? Those 2 or 3 days that we're waiting to see the letters to peg up or for those indicators to show, it's already too late for them. If they miss 10 days, then you wait for the 3 days, that's 13 days. They're well behind. Punitive measures, the truancy letters, legal actions towards absence should be reduced. I know this is a hard thing to do, but I have to take time to actually call my students. I want to speak to the families. If I need to get them in for a conference, I want to get them in before I give them those 3-day letters or 5-day letters. I want to understand fully why they've missed these days. The holistic approach with the parents, families, students, and community tends to grow and foster success in altering perspectives on school attendance and then forming an attendance team. So we have to have that holistic approach, but we need to have a team that's actually going to sit down and look at the chronic issues. It's enough for me to come in for an hour a day and go through and do my regular attendance. But to hit a chronic area, you have to go well beyond the average. This is not something that one person needs to sit down and do. But this team needs to monitor data, set priorities, where are we going with it, implement a work plan, engage the key partners, and continually assess how to strengthen the work. Unpack the causes, like we looked earlier, the 4 main causes. Communicate the value of school attendance to the parents is central to this success. We're going to look at the Attendix Works website here in just a little while, which I think most people are familiar with, but it has some fantastic resources to be able to send to the homes, to get in the parents' hands, or even to work with the students. This is a big one. Our school implemented a mentorship program about 4 to 5 years ago. Started about mid-year. But this is where we connect community partner members with each of the students that we know are having issues. Now, typically for the mentorship, you've always seen them used just for behavior. But we've started connecting with those that are chronic students that we know are having an issue getting through our doors. And what that mentor can do is a lot of times they'll set their meetings during the day. They'll want to come in and meet during the school day. And it's on that Monday to where most students typically miss, or it's on those days right before a holiday before students take those trips. And it connects them directly with the school system. Improve the staff culture to improve student culture. Work directly with students on the chronic health issues, just like we talked a minute ago. Now, the main thing that through the research I looked at, we want to keep this on everybody's mind. It can't just be on the administrator's mind. We want to keep it at the center of attention, and we want to remember the long game. So we don't want it just for administrators. We want it for staff. We want it on the janitor's mind. We want it on the lunch lady's line, the school bus drivers. We want it with community members, our district partners, right? We want it to go well beyond just our doors. But if we don't deal with this, we do know that research shows that students who skip school or drop out or that are chronic lead into lives with negative outcomes. So through the whole PowerPoint, I asked, did you notice the elephant? It was in every slide. The elephant is chronic attendance. It's the one thing that a lot of schools will take time just to pass over. They won't focus on. They won't take the time to look at. But your chronic students are missing more days than any other students that you have on the list. And when they're outside of the classroom or they're outside of the room, they're missing academic time, they're missing socialistic time, they're missing it all. Okay, so I show that video to say this. Everything that we've discussed up until now is technical. It's the stuff that we know what the interventions need to take place. We know we need to go through data. We know we need to hit all the high points that we're supposed to do as an administration or as a school. But the one thing, the one key to this all, chronic students are not going to come through our doors if they don't feel like this is their home. This is a place that they have to want to be. The relationships that we build, the interventions that we do need to be focused on getting them to desire to walk through our doors. We need to understand our students, the ones that are introverts, the ones that aren't like the other students, right? That's the key goal. If we can get our partnerships with each stakeholder to want them to be here, then those people will start changing the appointment times. They'll start getting up on time. They'll buy an alarm clock. Getting the parents to care enough just to get their students up in the morning to be here. The key is the relationships. We can't put our people into boxes. We have to work with them as a whole team. So to adapt to the change, we can't overlook the elephant in the room. We can't overlook chronic attendance. That's something that if we don't take care of, it's going to be bigger and it's going to grow and it's going to overwhelm and overcome other issues that we have. And it's the responsibility of everybody. It's not just to be for one person to deal with. It's from the classroom to the front door, from the time they ride the bus before they ever get here. Everybody has to play a part in combating the attendance issue. And we must institutionalize that. We must get our staff to understand. We need to talk about it. It's not something that just gets taken care of during the day and we report it out. It's not something that just gets a button clicked in Infinite Campus. It's actually having open discussions about things that we don't want to sometimes, because this is something that's already been done. We're not worried about this, when in truth, we really do need to take a hard look at it. So for us, some of the things we do, we have the counseling programs with the Healthy Kids in school and community sites. The mentorship program has been a great help. Incentives, throwing incentives every moment we can get them. Our teachers go crazy because we're doing something all the time. As much as we can put out there, we have kids in the hallways. We have kids doing dance parties. We have field trips. We do Dragon Days to where they get to choose where they go for an hour during the day. We have those incentives to draw students in. Communications with families, staff, counselors, students. I call families every day. Most administrators do. Working with those attendance issues and finding out the root cause of what's causing the students not to be here. Communicating health and medical resources, telling people that we can adapt to the needs. We can do this for you. Focusing on engagement and deeper learning, aligning policies to promote attendance to all stakeholders. I can't see that last one, sorry, faces are in the way. Working with local health professionals. That's a hard one for me, is calling the doctors and saying, hey, I need to alter times. We need to have some other time that this can take place, because it's not only their health needs that are taking a hit now, it's their academics, it's their life. It's systemic change. On the attendance website, Attendance Works, you can see it's capacity building, using the data, positive engagement, strategic partnerships, shared accountability among everybody, and equitable resources, adequate resources, giving our staff and teachers things that they need in the classroom to adapt to this. If you haven't used the Attendance Works website, I highly recommend that you take a look at it. It has fantastic resources from every partnership that you can look for. I was looking on it today. They've added a data analysis tool that can be used to actually address chronic absenteeism. Please take a peek at it. There's my email. That's the school's phone number. If you'll email me, I'll give you my cell phone number. I appreciate you taking the time to be with me today. Chronic absences is one of those things that gets swept under the rug a lot, and we need to actually take a more hearty look at it. Thank you, Ms. Sharon.
Thank you, Josh.